Good morning and welcome to this week's design challenge, Opera in a Box. This week we're going to be looking at Bizet's opera Carmen, and we're going to be working with designer Ruth Payton again. Good morning, Ruth.
Hi Karen, great to be with you again, and I'm with you this morning from my studio in London. I've been up very early, so early that I heard the dawn chorus, which was beautiful.
Gorgeous. And what do we need for our design challenge this week? What materials, Ruth?
Right, well, if you could hold up the list. Lovely, Karen. You need a cardboard box, so something this sort of size, and if it doesn't open on the front, then just cut a door so that to make it open like that. You need kitchen foil, tissue paper, some glitter, silver preferably, but it doesn't really matter. Paint, I'm using watercolour, you can use whatever you like. Glue would be either stick glue or PPA. And a small bit of plant. I'm using some rosemary that was in our kitchen, but you could use a bit of house plant. And finally, glue tack or plasticine if you've got it, but you only need a tiny little bit.
Great, fantastic, Ruth. And the story is it's set in this really, really warm, sunny town square in Seville, and we meet Carmen. Everyone loves Carmen. She's so beautiful. I might actually just quickly show you an image to get you into the mood. Look at that beautiful flower in her hair. So she's in the town square. Unfortunately, she gets into a terrible fight where she works, and she's arrested and put in prison. And while she's in prison, she thinks, do you know what? I just want to get out of here. She manages to persuade her guard, Don Jose, to set her free, and he falls uncontrollably in love with her and runs off with her into the mountains, where they meet a group of smugglers in these mountains. And Ruth, what are we going to do around that very moment? So let's imagine ourselves with Carmen in that beautiful dress and Don Jose. She's newly in love in the mountains.
Well, I love this part of the opera because it's set in some remote mountains outside of Seville. So I thought what we would do is make a miniature opera design in a box, a bit like the set models that designers have to make. And I've got one here, so that it's just an ordinary box on the outside, but when you open it up, there is a secret world inside. And this is the world of the Seville mountains, and you can see I've got the mountains in front here. There's this is supposed to be an olive tree, and then in the background there's a starry night with a full moon. And I was really inspired by some of the drawings that people did for Rosalka's moon, the design challenge last week. But also, last night I went out and I looked at the supermoon, which we've got this week, which was a beautiful sort of light dusky pink. So that's why I put a bit of pink on that full moon there.
Utterly stunning. And Ruth, is this something that you would actually do as if you were designing for an opera?
Well, yes, designers usually make their designs in model form, but we make them a bit bigger than these. We make them to a scale called 1 to 25, so that everything is 25 times smaller than it is in real life. And just to show you what that looks like, there's a model figure that I've made for something else, and some furniture here. Is that showing up okay on the camera?
Well, can you hold it a bit closer for us? And just
yeah,
so
there's the figure and there's a chair. So this is just a little snapshot because we actually make the whole scenery in model form. And that's what we're going to have a go making a miniature set design today. So if you get your empty box, and the first thing we've got to do is to make a floor and the back wall. So hopefully you've got some black or blue card. Black would be really good for the floor, and we're going to cut a piece that fits in the bottom like that. But I'm going to take that out and keep it for later. Then for the backdrop, for the back wall, we need to have another piece of card. I'm using a dark blue, which represents the night sky. Again, I'm going to take that out because I want to work on that before I put it back into the box. On this back wall, I'd love us to do one of these big full moons. And here are some ideas for moons that I did before. So we've got this pink moon, which is actually just cut out from a magazine, the colour pink. A drawn moon, which I did with white pencil, but I quite like it because you can get shading. This is just a bit of old wrapping paper. That's some kitchen foil. There's a bit of music score, in case you wanted a musical theme for your box. And finally, this white moon here is made out of a disc of tissue paper. And that's the one I'm going to show you in my example. So the first thing to do would be to draw a circle for your moon and cut it out. And then we're going to stick that onto our back wall. You could use stick glue. I prefer wood glue or PVA glue. I'm just going to stick that on quite high up so that we can see it above the mountains. I mentioned before that the supermoon has a little pink hue to it, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of very watery pink paint just to give it a little pink glow. And we want some stars on this night sky. Stars are very easy. Just get your glue, dot it around, smear it around, and then put some silver glitter on top. Now you don't need to go crazy with the silver glitter. Just a little bit, and then shake it onto a piece of card. I'm going to do a little bit more actually. There we go. And then you've got your silver sky. When that glue dries, you won't see it at all. So that's the back wall, which is done. I'm going to put that straight into the cardboard box. There we are. A bit of glue on there. Make sure it doesn't move around. Great. Now we need to do the mountains, which is stuck to the floor. So there's my floor that I cut out before. Now the mountains are sculpted out of paper. To do this, you get a square of kitchen foil and a square the same size of tissue paper, and you're going to glue that tissue paper on top of the foil. Once it's dry, it will look like this. It's stuck really well. I used lots of stick glue and it's stuck completely together so that I can sculpt on it. I'm going to cut this in half, and those are going to be my two mountains. But I don't want them to be white. I would like them to be dusky, bluey colours. So using my paints, I'm going to put a bit of water on there and then dab on black. This would be fine with acrylics if that's what you've got at home. And some of this lovely dark blue. And just put that on there. And I'll do the other one as well. Now, because we're short of time right now, I've got one that I painted earlier. I just need to cut it in half. And I'm ready to start modelling these mountains. So the mountains, remember, have to stick on top of this floor cloth. So we've got to make them tall and thin, probably. There's one, and if I hold that in profile, that's what it's going to look like. And let's do the other one. Quite fun just to mould it with your fingers and then glue underneath and stick them on. You will take a lot more time and do this very beautifully, I'm sure. But for now, there we go. They're stuck on. And
great.
So
Ruth, I'm just going to interrupt you for a moment, because while you're making those mountains and making your model box, do you think about the characters in the scene as well, or are you just designing the set right now?
Oh, well, I definitely think about the characters. I mean, in this scene in the opera, we've got the smugglers hiding out in the mountains, and they're examining their contraband, and Carmen's there. So I think about them and the kind of atmosphere that I need in order for that bit of the story to be told. In fact, if you were doing this, you could do a tiny little figure of Carmen or the smugglers, and you could put it in, and that would be fantastic.
Let me just show you her again, just in case you need inspiration for that.
And actually, that red dress against these blue mountains would be really fantastic. So I'm just putting the mountains into the box now. There we we are. And the last thing this needs is my little tree. So you just take a tiny bit of plant, again that's rosemary from the kitchen, a little blob of blue tack or plasticine, and that is enough to make the tree stand up in front of the mountains. Hang on a sec and I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, hang on. Malfunctioning tree. There we are. There we go. It's a bit skewy. Be like that. So, Karen, did you want to somehow tie this into the Easter theme?
Yeah, so you said to us, Ruth, that we could maybe give this box to somebody for Easter, and it is the Easter weekend, and I'm feeling particularly Eastery, waiting for all of those chocolate eggs. So is there any way that we can connect Easter into this model box?
Yeah, well, I did have one idea, which is that if you give someone this box for Easter, and it just looks like a boring old box from the outside, maybe it's a tea box or something, and you call it an Easter present, and they open it up, and inside there's this surprise scene, and then hidden behind one of the mountains you could put a little Easter egg like that for them to find. And if you don't have, I've got a wooden egg here, but you could have a chocolate egg, or maybe make one out of foil, and that'd be fine. And just hide it behind one of those mountains, fold it up, and put it on the table for Easter morning.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I love the idea of opera in a box. Send your creations to us. Don't forget to tag at Garsington Opera and use the hashtag GO Monday Motivation. Can't wait to show your designs on Monday mornings, 10 a.m. Monday Motivation session. It's been great, and thank you so much, Ruth, for that fantastic design. Have a great Easter weekend creating, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.